Hey, Rad World. Today's episode of Spoiling Dead is brought to you by Midwest Action Fest, coming to the State Theater in Logansport, Indiana on April 19th and 20th. Midwest Action Fest is a film festival for filmmakers by filmmakers, action, adventure, and comedy films. Be sure to check it out. And now to your host, Rebecca Erb.
Hey, Rad World. Welcome back to Spoiling Dead, the show where we talk about Walking Dead. I'm here with my dudes, Daniel Murphy and Tony Walters.
I'm still here. Hey.
Let's get spoiling.
Let's talk about this new place. I like this.
Welcome to our new studio, guys.
It's like a den.
It's like a den.
AKA Tony's house.
So we are going to do a full recap of the second half of the season. So we're going to really try to focus on the highlights. I know. Like, I was kind of going through, like, the episodes. I was like, man, how did this happen? How did this happen?
Yeah.
Stick with us. Get your comments going, and let's get this going. So, Adaption. The group unmasks a disturbing and dangerous new threat. An escaped captive revisits his past. So, in this episode, Henry goes on a crazy night out with his friends, college life.
Right.
And he...
In a tree house or something.
In a house, out in the middle of nowhere. Which I loved all of that. I love that you got to see the true person that Henry is. And I mean, rightfully so, because he's raised by King Ezekiel and Carol. So, of course, he's going to have, like, that bravado about him.
Oh, yeah.
And because of his, underage drinking, he gets locked up. And that was really, really interesting. I guess something that I don't think was quite expected.
You think that was an extreme punishment?
Not at all. No.
You think that was a good thing that they put him in the drunk tank for what seemed like a couple of weeks?
I totally think so. I totally think so.
I think it was like 2 days.
It felt like forever.
And so Henry's locked up, and then back at Alexandria, Negan tries to go back to the sanctuary knowing Judith's warning.
Right.
So let's talk about that a little bit.
I don't know. Obviously, Negan's still Negan, even though he's changing. But I think a part of him, in order for him to move forward and to change and become a better person, he had to go back and just make sure and check off the list the things that maybe he felt like he needed but realized he didn't.
Oh,
and
absolutely.
That was part of him changing.
I think so too.
Realizing that it's
all gone.
It's not what it is.
Yeah. And I think that he really was expecting there to be something for him to go back to, rebuild Sanctuary, and be the savior that he always thought that he was.
Well, it's like you get used to something and it's what you're comfortable with.
Oh, absolutely.
So, there's always a glimmer of hope no matter how dastardly it ends up being.
When you think about it, he's been a prisoner of war for like 6 years.
It's been a long time.
And
it's all we can think about. Yeah.
Right. I think that, with anybody, if you're, held captive for a really long time, where's the first place that you want to go when you're free is home.
Oh, yeah, home.
And when he goes there, it's just not his home anymore. And then he starts to realize maybe he does care for these people who have kept him captive. He's got a whole, Stockholm Syndrome thing
it's
going
better,
on.
Absolutely.
They're sure better than home.
Well, yeah, and I don't think it's them as a whole. I really think that it's just strictly Judith, like Carl was before. I think that he's just like really attached to Judith and respect her.
Right.
I think he respects Michonne too, and I think he respects Father Gabriel. Like, I think he respects the people that he's had the most interactions with. Even though he likes to screw with them, I still think that he respects the people.
He respects them in a certain way. I mean, respect, I feel like, is a strong word. He respects Judith. Okay, let me put that
Judith
back.
is the
he
one
respects Michonne and Father Gabriel, but he thinks highly and respects Judith.
Well, Judith
because
is the only one that
he doesn't
understands
fuck with
him.
Judith.
Right.
He fucks with everybody
else.
else.
But she gets him. She calls him out on it. She doesn't take his shit. She knows who he really kind of is.
Oh, absolutely.
Versus everyone else who's getting to know him.
Yeah,
really.
and he doesn't sugarcoat things with her.
And
so she probably feels empowered in a way because he doesn't talk to her like a kid.
Right, he's the only person that's being honest with her too. Like everyone else treats her like a kid, and she knows inside that she's
more than
that.
Absolutely.
And just growing up in that, you're going to be different from what they know a kid used to be. You know, so it's just
or how they want a kid to be. Like Michonne was
There's
doing.
no time for bullshit. Like, let's just tell these kids how it is so they can survive in this world.
Yeah, because with us in this world, we try to make our kids be as kids as long as possible, go out and have fun and do this and do that, because in this world, that is what's good for kids. But in that world, that has to be completely gone. You got to do like the tough love, not, the alpha tough love.
You can't send them out on their bikes till dark.
Right.
That's just not how it's going to work.
But yeah, then at the end of the episode, Lydia is captured and she is questioned, which is interesting to see because when she was first captured, I just thought that she was just another one of the Whisperers. It was really cool to find out that she was like the Whisperer, like the princess of the Whisperers.
I just thought, being younger, that she had to be somebody a bit more important than if it was an adult, like you wouldn't, who the hell knows who that is. But the fact that they had a younger girl there.
Yeah, I think they probably saw the opportunity too with it being a younger girl that it was somebody they could question, and they probably didn't feel right killing anyway.
Right, exactly that, and it just worked for both sides at that time.
Oh, absolutely. So the next episode is Omega. Another arrival at the Hilltop Colony reveals information about the leader of a hostile new group of savages. A party searches for Alden and Luke. So I really, 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 really enjoyed this episode. Very, very much so. Up to this point, this was my favorite episode out of the whole series. I love that you don't get a good grip on who Lydia is. I love like the back and forth, like she's telling Henry one story, but Daryl one story. Then you think like, oh, she's trying to manipulate him, and then you don't trust her.
Right.
And
which is how it would be if you were a prisoner. Before you really get to figure out who's who and what's really going on and whether you're even going to survive it, you're going to have to put your guard up and feel people out.
Yeah.
And
but then we come to learn that, that was the story that she was told. That was what she was just like, almost like beaten to think really happened.
Right.
So, I give mad credits to the actress. I wish I remembered what her name was.
Yeah, she's good.
But holy crap, can she act? When she realizes that her mother, Alpha, is really like the monster in the story, and her dad was the one that, was there for her and tried to protect her in a better way than what Alpha does. It was great. you just felt the emotion
I'm glad that
from
they
her.
gave us that. They almost had to, but they haven't done that before. I'm glad that they gave us her backstory up front because it showed us immediately who this person is and what she's capable of. And, that was the best way to do it. If she did it would have just been really hard to get to know somebody who's got a mask on and not know who they are, So it's good that they did that way.
And for me, it almost, with this backstory, made Alpha 10 times scarier because you get those bits where you think Alpha used to be a good mom. She tried to protect Lydia from her dad and all of that stuff. But then when you see that switch where it's really Alpha, and I can't remember like her original name, but it's really her with the shaved head and all of that. That fear factor just switched. It's like, oh man, she's creepy.
The scariest part of it is that she's a mother, and you just as a viewer, not really as seeing the character, but as a viewer, you're not going to expect a woman like that to do the stuff she does, and she's
absolutely.
done some of the worst stuff
we've
absolutely
seen yet. Yes, and it's crazy. It's like,
it's just
Negan, hold my beer.
Right, it's exactly that, and she's effortless about it, and she's precise about it, and she's 6 steps ahead about it, which is why they need Negan now to kind of get into the mind of the crazy lady.
We'll get to that because I don't. It's kind of iffy for me, but as far as like comparing Negan
takes
and
one
Alpha,
to know one.
As far as comparing Negan to Alpha, Negan had his threats. And, he made a huge impact
Negan
on our
was not a
group.
monster like she is.
Right.
But she still thinks she's doing the right thing. She still thinks it helps people survive. She still believes that. But yet she can still then kill people in cold blood just because they saw her crying.
Right. Yeah, so absolutely. But even with
she's
Negan,
not level, but she is precise about what she's doing. And her plan, but yet inside her mind, she's not.
Totally.
She's scattered.
Totally. But I think another reason why Alpha is so scary is because we had Negan, and he was just like a comic relief. He was just kind of goofy.
Right. He was more like Freddy Krueger.
Yeah.
then
we get Alpha that is just like straight up out of her mind, and just her whole aesthetics is just
unpredictable.
Absolutely.
Because it's not the fact that you would have wondered if Negan was going to strike or if the governor was going to strike. Like, it's not that. It's how is she going to do it? Like,
not only how, but it's like where. Right. Because they're hiding. They're in camouflage. She can just cut
somebody's hair off and then walk in and be them. Like, she's got the balls to do it, which is why people don't notice her. Because she is absolutely like a ninja at blending in. And she's obviously... Can you imagine the trial and error of sending... like her guinea pigs in to make sure this trick works or that trick works.
Right.
Like, it's just crazy how much. I mean, I love the fact that obviously they've been around for years, but they don't have to show that. They just show enough to where we understand it immediately, and it's just a scary thing.
And another thing is, at the beginning of this whole series, walkers were the threat. And then, halfway through, people are the real threat. The real threat. And now with the Whispers, they've combined the two.
Right, but now everybody's a threat mixed in together.
Yeah, absolutely.
And now, there's just, and obviously it comes from the comics, but it's absolutely brilliant story line, and the way they've done it, and the structure of her gang, and just how well it works and how scary it is. And it's just, I've been waiting on this for a long time.
I know.
And I was worried about how they would do it and how it would all play out, and it's just been better than I can imagine.
Payoff is great.
Yeah. Rick who?
We'll get to that at the end.
Yeah.
Let's touch on that at the end.
Absolutely. So the next episode is Bounty. The Whispers, led by Alpha, confront the Hilltop in a harrowing attempt to retrieve her daughter. A supply run for the kingdom turns into a dangerous quest. So we see Daryl, giving up Lydia to Alpha, which I honestly think was a really, really, really hard thing for him, because he's been through the abusive life. Like, his parents abused him, his brother abused him. He just had a really horrible life. So I feel like that's why he connected with her. So turning her over was a really, really hard thing to do. But they had Alden and Luke, so like,
exactly,
it's our people
against her. Here's the thing too with Daryl. This is brand new for him, being in charge, making the decisions, trying to figure out what to do. But as you said, having a little history himself, that must have gone into the, decision making. And sometimes, sometimes it's just easier to appease the abuser and go with them and maybe buy some time. I don't know. But obviously at the time, that's what he had to do. He had to hand her over.
Right. And I completely agree. It was a hard thing.
It's harder for him to make a connection. Once he saw Henry's connection, and then he could see that the whole thing was real and that maybe this person's worth saving. But at the time, it's just instinct.
It's what they had to do at that moment.
Right.
So while they're dealing with the hilltop with Whispers, which I have to say, that whole bit with the baby and Connie was like one of the most heart-wrenching, nerve-wracking
That's what I mean when I say
that I've dealt with
crazy,
on this show.
A mother woman, she's a mother, but yet she just throw a baby down like it's.
And I don't think she would have, only because she knew Alpha would have killed her.
No, I'm talking about baby. Alpha making her just do it.
Oh, right.
Like, that's just the craziest thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, and it's like what was her reasoning?
They're literally acting like animals, just like a pack of wolves.
Right. No. Yeah, and her reasoning was like the weak won't last. Right. But it's like, it's a human child. any human child's gonna cry. How do you expect to like respond to whispers if you're just gonna like? Just
She's trying to evolve the human race into something different.
Definitely, I can see
She's
that.
trying to take them back to like an animal type of way, because that's how you survive. Like animals have always been there. They're up there in the food chain.
Yeah, I mean you can't deny that what she's doing isn't working.
No,
yeah,
that's exactly right. They've
that's
survived.
She's managed to survive, and she's managed to lead a team for
Right.
a really long time.
And they can move
This
in
is 6 years, you know, of her surviving out here. Like,
and not only lead a team, but lead a team like they are there to do her bidding, to listen to her, to like.
But half of
whatever.
them don't even have to be that way, because they're just zombies that follow her around. Like that horde of hers. If these guys are moving, you know, south for the winter, so to speak, they're taking a whole crap load of zombies with them. It's insane.
It's absolutely insane.
That's what I say. You know, the precision and the planning that has to go into that is crazy, and it would take somebody like her
to do that.
When the flashbacks were happening, she was already
there.
She'd already planned an escape and was
Right.
already figuring out how to survive.
And probably because like she was the abuser even before the apocalypse.
Do you think she believes in vaccinations? Is she one of those anti-vax moms? I don't know.
So
She's alive.
True. So while everyone's dealing with whispers at Hilltop, Carol, King Ezekiel, and all their crew from the kingdom is on a major quest.
What I liked about this, I loved that it was in a movie theater.
It's so good.
For one.
Yeah.
I don't know. There's a zombie map that's in a movie theater on the zombie game, and it just felt a bit like that. Plus, just being in the theater, and then when you figure out why they're there, it's just a really nice little fun kind of like.
It is a fun way because even then they had the music, because when Carol's like, "Hey, we're here for this, let's do it."
That's
so
when
they
she really
lure
started
all
backing
of the
him up,
walkers
wasn't it?
out,
Yeah, right.
and then they're panning across everybody with that music, and Jerry, leave it to Jerry for.
It was good.
Pulling on at our heartstrings. It was really good. It was a fun episode.
Yeah, it was. It was a good
Yeah.
one. It's just because that's when you really found out about the movie thing. Like, that was a nice little thing. It's like, you wouldn't think of that.
Never.
You wouldn't think of, a movie being like, wow, hell yeah.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Who wouldn't want to go see a movie?
Oh, absolutely. So at the end of this episode, Henry leaves to go save his girl, Lydia. And then in Guardians, while one community struggles to ease tension that threatens to divide from within, the true nature of another group comes into focus. A mission to rescue a friend has potentially deadly consequences. So, obviously the deadly consequences is Beta. Holy freaking cow. Like, Alpha has her own way of just, like, being terrifying. But Beta is, like, on a whole another level. He's like her mad dog.
Here's what it is. Alpha is a velociraptor. Beta is a T-Rex.
Absolutely.
And
That is actually a really good analogy. That's a really good analogy. I like that. So yeah, Beta captures Henry. I mean, just like flawlessly picks him up out of that little ditch.
Are you gonna try and fight him?
He did try. I mean, I give it to Henry. He did try. But yeah, so there's that whole situation going on there. All the while back at Alexandria, Father Gabriel, Rosita, and Sadiq are having some baby drama issues.
Yeah.
Which is like, compared to everything that's going on, it's just like a little tiny, not big deal side story. But I'm enjoying it nonetheless.
I think it shows like a sense of
humanity.
Like, yeah, humanity, understanding, like just community. Like it's a stressful situation for them, but they understand like, hey, we're all friends here.
Yeah, there's still real life issues to deal with.
And we have to be able to get along in order to survive. Like,
right.
This is just how it's
Absolutely.
gonna have to be.
That's just giving yourself permission to get into trouble. We got to survive. Might as well just put up with it. I don't know.
And I do have to say that it's interesting, and we see it a lot in this episode, the two different sides of being a parent, because like Alpha is having like her own type of difficult moments being a mother, as well as Michonne.
It's like being raised as a divorced kid.
Yeah.
You got the two different families.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. So it's interesting just to see that yes, they kind of have the same type of like difficulties going on, but they're like completely on like
they have the same
spectrums.
problems to take care of, but they're addressing them and handling them in completely different ways.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, both ends of the spectrum.
Yeah.
Like dramatically.
Oh, absolutely.
But,
yeah.
Yeah.
But I really love the talk that Negan has with Michonne about Judith. Because what does he say? Like, you don't have the daughter that you think that you have,
right,
or something like that.
But he was the only one that could have possibly told her that.
Oh, absolutely, yes.
And the only one, I mean, everyone else has been probably whispering about it, whatever. I don't know. But Negan's the only one that also truly knows who Judith is.
We get that same line later on from Daryl too. Daryl's like, "That's not a kid you have there."
Like, yeah, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
But after Daryl gets the fake,
kind of
exactly.
towards her.
Everybody
and
knows.
Daryl gets it because Daryl was like attached to her from the beginning.
Oh man.
Because kick ass is
a little
what he called
ass
her
kicker.
Or something. Ass kicker, that's what it was.
And look at her.
Kicker. Oh, and she is a little
but
ass
listen,
kicker. Like
how would
at
you not
Negan.
be? Your
Right.
group has survived this long. Therefore, they have weeded out all of the bugs on how to survive, right? This kid automatically has survival skills that half the human race didn't have. So that's just normal.
I mean, I hate
She
to go here.
still has the family life and all that stuff.
Right,
but she also can kill a walker if she has to.
Oh,
or
absolutely.
she's not scared of that.
But I mean, I hate to go there, but I mean, she is Shane's daughter, so.
Well, yeah, she's got a little crazy in her too. Then.
Yeah. So, on to the next episode, Choke Point. Daryl's daring rescue mission forces Alpha to unleash a group of her own to retrieve what belongs to her. Even if the price is paid in blood, the kingdom's plan to reunite the communities are put into jeopardy. So, everyone's preparing for the fair. They're doing what they have to do, still trying to convince Alexandria to come. And then later, Jerry gets ambushed by these highwaymen and delivers this note to the king. And I really thought, when he did that, I'm just like, wait, highwaymen? Like, we're meeting new people? I was almost irritated about it. I was like, that's too much. New people, really?
Their intro was pretty badass.
But it was awesome. So they go to check out these highwaymen.
It made me jump up and give them a little cheer.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I did too. I was so... Okay, so the episode before with Alpha's backstory was my favorite episode to that point. Now, Choke Point is my favorite episode. It is so good. Like, okay, so we're there and they're seeing the highwaymen and they're about to like go in for it, and Carol's like, look, they sent us a note. I don't think that these are guys that are really going to be that much of a problem.
They're almost like having the same experience as the king is. Like they live in this fantasy kind of like, dude, we should call ourselves the Highwaymen. And they're just putting on this thing. They're just doing this thing, and it's worked for them, I guess. It had to have.
Oh, absolutely.
The ultimate team up here. It was just great.
And then like hiding behind like the little mannequins and Carol's thing. She's like, when was the last time you guys saw a movie with her like notorious like smile that she has? And it's just like
people
so
that are that
great.
dramatic are just dying to go to the movie.
Oh, absolutely.
That's what's so brilliant about it. And they died for that, and they would kill for that, and it was just like what the ultimate way to make friends. Like instant connection. They just both knew right away that there was no danger there.
Absolutely. And I'm going to go on like a very, very small tangent. Obviously, as you guys know, or you should know, or I'm going to tell you right now, we are filmmakers. I'm going to speak for all of us because I feel like it's the same thing. Like, that is the power that films has on people. Like, it's such an amazing thing. And it was really, really cool to see it in the post-apocalyptic world. Like, films will always have a certain impact on people. They will always do what they can to be able to let go of reality for a bit and go watch a film. Absolutely. It's great. It's so great.
Tony already got his tickets.
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah, totally.
Avengers review coming soon.
So after like the whole highwaymen thing, we see one of, if not the most epic battles of the whole freaking series.
Didn't it feel like you were playing Mortal Kombat?
Dude,
it was just great.
Absolutely.
A great fight.
And I really thought, like, I'm able to shut off my mind pretty easily and just like watch it for what it is, and but they're still in the back of my mind, like, okay, they're gonna survive. Oh, they're good. I really thought Daryl was
that's
gone.
That's the thing with Beta. Like, you just look at him, you try and figure him out. There's a lot going on. Like, his costume's cool, and I like how he put it together and all that. But it's just like, this guy, I don't know anything about him. He's hanging out with that crazy bitch.
We haven't seen him without his mask on.
Exactly.
Or off.
I don't know that we will.
Ever will. That's one of the
I think that's his skin, and that's what he wants, and that's how
the comic
cool.
book.
There might be an unmasking.
You never see Beta's face
when he's
as
dead. Yeah, I don't believe we will. I think that he is just
that's what he's just succumbed to.
An animal
like,
now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's completely switched off. He has no. He's just a killing machine.
Absolutely, and it's funny because I was in Florida.
He's like Jason Voorhees with a voice.
Yeah. So I was in Florida shooting a film, so I was not able to see that episode Sunday night. I had to wait until the very next Sunday and watch that one, and then the premiere that time. So Tony had already watched it. When Beta fell off that elevator, I look at him, I was like, he's still alive. And Tony looks at me, he's like, he fell down an elevator shaft.
Come on now.
Like, oh, come on now.
Yeah. The dude walked in with a door and stopped a couple of arrows with it.
Yeah. Yeah. Point made.
It wasn't for that escape hatch, that little secret hatch.
Which I love that part.
Daryl's just like a little field mouse. He just...
I really, really, really hope that Connie and Daryl get together, because she is constantly proving to him that, like, she's somebody that, like, needs to be recognized, and, like, she's a badass. And then she takes him to that place, which is, like, their secret, like, rendezvous, and she has all the things. That's so great. I love that little tidbit.
That was a nice... That is
nice
my favorite team up as far as, like, with the new people.
What would be, like, okay, those, like, weird names for relationships? For, like, famous people where they, like, mix up the names.
Right.
Like Rick Schoen.
Like Brangelina.
So, Darani.
Ooh, that's pretty good.
Darani. Hi! We're starting it right here, guys. Darani.
That's good. It's a little bit of a
Darani. Because it's Daryl. Darani.
Now you got me thinking about that.
If you guys have a better one, tell us. But at the end of Choke Point, which I absolutely love, Tara and all of them are having some issues. And here ride in the Highwaymen, and they're just like, who are you guys?
The look on Tara's
We're the
face
Highwaymen,
is
and we're
awesome.
escorting you to the fair.
Right.
Oh, it's so
like,
good.
It's like, nothing shocks me anymore. I'm just going to go with it.
Right? I saw a tiger. Nothing shocks me anymore.
They have to be friends with the king. We're just going to roll with this.
So great.
Damn fair was bringing out all the freaks.
Oh, it's so great. And then... we take down, like, a huge dark notch with scars. And outside is a rival forces Alexandra to rehash devastating old wounds. Eye-opening secrets from the past are revealed.
This was one of my favorite episodes.
This was a really, really good episode. And when they did, like, the little recap before the episode started and they showed the scars, I'm like, yes, we're finally going to find out what the scars are all about.
Yeah, that was... And it's not so much what the scars were all about. It's what all this... tension was all about, and why everybody it was, and I racked my brain trying to figure out what it could be. Never in a million years would I have guessed that.
Me too.
And that's why I liked it so much, is that they surprised me with how they pulled it all together with one really actually quite simple explanation.
Oh, definitely.
It was really good.
And
it was brutal.
It was brutal.
It was gut wrenching, and it was
so gut wrenching.
Like when Anakin killed all those little Jedi kids.
Well, it's not the same thing, but
similar. Kids died.
Yeah.
With a pointy object. No, but it was just she don't obviously want to kill him, but she had to.
She gave him
and she gave him many warnings.
I know.
But it was just that's why they had to do that though, in order to show why Michonne changed so much and why there was such this big shift.
Because it was a drastic change.
It's going to take a lot to mess with her.
Yes.
Rick's assumed dead. Like, that's enough trauma for anyone.
Yeah.
So it had to be something really devastating, and Wow.
And it was like really, really good writing, like you said, simple, but so good because we have this pregnant Michonne that just lost her husband,
Right.
and she somehow like just sees an old friend. So
Right.
of course her guard is going to be instantly down.
And I didn't, honestly, when watching that, I didn't right away see her as a threat. Like, obviously a part of me was like, don't trust her. And then when I was like, all right, well, why would she?
Right.
But yet, why would Alpha?
Right.
So people changed that much, even though Alpha was like right there anyway. You know,
But can you imagine having like a kid army?
it was brilliant, like Children of the Corn. It was
Yep.
like amazing, and it's something that's like they're doing all these horror tropey things, right? But it's like, how could they have really written that in? But they did it. It was perfect. Like, they've taken all these cool little creepy ideas and mixed them in, and it is not.
It had
overly...
some nice editing. It's like, hey, we're gonna do this episode. We're gonna kill a bunch of kids. And they're like, but how are you gonna do it? And
Yeah,
it's like,
but-
well,
yeah.
we'll just mimic it. We'll mirror it
Can you imagine?
with a kid killing a bunch of zombies.
Yes. Yes.
Well, I mean, it's Michonne killing a bunch of zombies trying to
Right.
save
Judith,
while
yeah.
she's chopping off the heads of a bunch of little kids.
It was.
She's
it
not
was
chopping their
exact-
heads
It was.
off.
Yeah, huh?
She's not Alpha. No, she's not.
It was really well done.
She's definitely chopping the heads off those kids.
No, she's not.
Yeah,
I-
because
that's
it's
a
like
quick-
she swings and then it cuts to her cutting the head off of a zombie. That's like totally
Yeah,
just like
that's a quick
mirroring her
death
being like,
for a kid,
hey,
Becca.
taking a cat.
I mean,
kid's
that's
head
true. That's true.
I mean, if you
'Cause that's all the nerves, they
imagine for a
can't feel
second if you
anything.
lived in a place like that.
Right. Wait, a place like what?
Like, imagine for a second you were in a
off.
zombie
He's doing a callback to
apocalypse.
season 1 of Spoiling Death.
Come on, Becca.
Wait, what?
You said it.
Oh! Shut up.
Anyway, if you had to kill a kid,
This is how you should do it.
she had to do it, but she
But
had
she,
no
she
choice.
still gave.
She
yeah,
was gonna die.
She
And her baby
still
was
gave
gonna
them
die.
a chance.
Like,
absolutely.
what do you do, Becca?
But there was one kid that got away. That one little kid
What-
with the.
I'm sure we'll be finding out
I'm wondering
about
if they're
her.
gonna bring her back.
I would bet so.
Speaking of bringing somebody back, where is Heath?
Oh, goodness me. He's with Jadis, and I guess we'll find out when they answer that damn radio.
Oh my gosh! What if he's with the Whisperers? Like,
Nah.
like what's his face?
Did
was
you notice,
with,
though, one of the
was
Whisperers
with the
is
Saviors.
wearing Michonne's friend's hair?
You know what? I thought that's what that was.
She's
I
wearing
really did.
the dreadlocks.
Totally. I thought that was going to be her until we saw the episode.
Yeah, I kind of was like,
Because she was one of the ones that went up to that building
but
to
maybe
go
somebody
get...
just found that
Daryl.
weave and was like, I'll take this. Or they cut her hair off.
Yeah. Very good. Very good.
I like it.
So the calm before, the four communities come together in celebration of the Kingdom's Fair, but while some pacts are renewed, others come at a much steeper price. So everybody signs a charter, which I love. We're getting all of these different genres mixed into one because it was very, very like, what's the word I'm looking for? Like new settlers.
Okay, do you think
like,
the charter really
know,
matters?
The Mayflower
I think
thing.
it matters.
I think it totally matters. Absolutely. Even more so now, but we'll get to that
Even when
later.
you like pull the camera back and see, you know, in the grand scheme of things.
No, I think
Does
it
that
matters.
little group of people matter when we're gonna
I think-
ultimately find out about?
Oh, like the New World Order or something like
Right.
that. I think that it matters because I think it's like, you know, it's very
Matters now.
It matters to them. It matters to this group because now
Right.
now it's no matter what kind of grudge you have to work together.
In order for
We've
the
signed
story,
this
they're
thing, like,
united.
this is-
They can be
Yeah.
a team again. So
And it's-
yes, it matters now. But in the grand scheme of
great.
things, do you think that's gonna actually come into play?
I think so.
I think that the show's probably got like 1, maybe 2 seasons left in it. I don't know, but I've been saying that for
What
like
if the
3
final
seasons, so we'll
shot
see what
of The
happens.
Walking Dead is a shot of a camera going through a museum and it finds this declaration and there it is?
That would be so cool. That would be
And it
so
ends on that.
cool. I would love that, actually. I don't know if you're just like kind of pulling that out of your ass, but that would be really
Pull
cool.
everything out of my ass.
So they're on a huge high. Everybody made it for the fair, including Alexandria. Everyone's really getting to know each other, have a good old time, play music. But there is an invader in their
Ooh,
lands.
I love it though.
Which was really, really cool. That was
She was
really,
kind
really
of hot
cool.
too, Becca.
She's a very.
I was
she's a
under her
very
spell,
cute girl.
Rebecca.
She's a very.
I would
very
have
cute
escorted
girl.
her to the sweatshirts too. Sweater, come with me.
Which is just like I saw her talking to the king, and I'm just like, no.
Yeah, I was worried for the king.
No.
I was definitely worried. I'm like,
Well,
oh man.
Yeah, in the
comics,
books,
yeah,
in the comics, the king. That's when the king dies.
Oh.
And I knew that.
But I love that they gave us that like fake out.
Oh, totally.
Sure.
They faked that out really, really well. And I love Lydia and Alpha's interaction. That was really cool. I really think that you got to see, although slightly, and I'm going to say this, just don't take me too seriously
I
with the great assault.
I think I agree with what you're about to say.
You got to see a little bit of Alpha's soft side.
Yeah,
Oh,
and that's why she punishes herself.
She does, love her daughter, although she's not showing it in a very
She's trying to disconnect
way.
herself completely from her. She felt some emotion. That's why she has to punish
she's
herself.
putting her people in jeopardy to save her daughter.
Right.
When any other
there
time
can't be
that
any
wouldn't
weak
have happened.
people. That's partially why
Right.
she killed the guy that saw her crying. Like there can be no weakness.
Oh, absolutely.
If you see weakness, you can't. Then you're tainted now. Mm-hmm. So now you've got to die too.
And I love that.
Put your baby in the grass and leave it there. Look at the flowers. Look at the flowers.
And then, the whole thing at the end, I can't. It was really, really, really hard for me. It was really, really, really hard for me. The border. It was so hard. And it I really wasn't thinking on who could be on there.
But when you saw the little tiny heads from the distance, obviously know now.
My only thought was Ezekiel. Like, that was my main thought.
So you were looking for, were you looking for hair?
I was looking for hair. I was like, man, no. And, the whole time, I'm a very animated person. And, they're pulling up. I'm like, no.
What would you have done if he was one of them?
And they're pulling across. And they get to Tammy, the old woman, that you kind of hated at the beginning because she was kind of like a bitch to...
But she had it right.
To, Maggie.
Yeah.
But then you got to love her and appreciate for who she was.
And she was taking care of the baby.
And she was taking care of the baby. And they were about to give her away, but then she was like, no, I think she has her home. And we pan across her face. I'm going to cry. We pan across her face. And I love how they do the back and forth.
Do you think she
Everybody
killed
looking
her
for
because
those
she
people
had the
at
baby?
the fair.
You think she picked her because she found out she was the one that had the baby that got left in the grass?
Oh, absolutely.
Because she heard her as she walked past her.
Every single person
everyone had a reason to be killed.
To be
the
killed.
Highwayman.
Talk into the front of your microphone, please.
I'm so sorry.
Damn it, so he's...
So every last one of them, and I didn't think about that till now.
Yeah.
Every last one of them had a reason. Highwaymen, because they came
That's
and
why
helped
she
everybody
infiltrated the
get
place.
to the fair.
Right.
I don't know what Alec would be. What would Alec be?
Oh, which one was Alec?
Alec was one of the ones from Alexandria that was always driving the carts and stuff. He was not that.
Maybe because he was a red shirt.
They went, hey, we're going to bring in some highwaymen so we can kill some people off. But we're going to make you like them real quick before we do it.
But they did, though. I mean, I like them a lot.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, for sure.
So
I was like, oh, man, that guy.
But the fact that they died didn't disappoint me because they died doing what they would.
And then Rodney and Addie, just because they were friends with Henry, they were friends with Lydia.
Get all them.
Tammy with the baby.
Because they actually picked on her. They picked on her. So the mom was like, that's a soft side a little bit in the beheadings. Yeah. I don't know if that's why, but those were the ones that picked on her.
Enid, because...
I think you guys are reading into a lot.
I don't know.
No,
I think we're onto something, Tony.
They were all
I don't think
reason.
they're random.
They're not random. They're totally not random. And it's like, okay, so Tammy went across. I'm just like, no. And then Ida's like, no. And then Tara was the worst.
Tara was the one I was the most upset about.
Tara was the one, for me too.
But I have a secret crush on her, so that could be partially why.
Oh, totally, me too. I love Tara. I love Tara from the beginning. I know that was a lot of for people, that was their throwaway character. But I love Tara from the very, very, very
I like
beginning.
how she got introduced. I like how she's part of, when everybody's got to refer to, people change. Tara, she's one of them.
Absolutely. And she always had, a funny comedic relief
she was
about
lighthearted
her.
about stuff.
And if she wanted to say something, she would say it. She never sugarcoated things.
Right. She was a good character.
She was such a good character.
She brought balance.
Oh, absolutely.
She was a Herschel.
I know if I would go that far.
With better tits.
Yeah. And then the much dreaded pan towards Henry's head. And my thought was just like, it wasn't about Henry. It was about Carol. I was thinking, oh no, she's losing another child.
I was thinking about the actors' parents. It's like, man, all 3 of their kids been fired from the show.
Yeah.
That's terrible.
Oh, this is true.
I mean, it is.
But it's like, Carol had better get that kill. She had better be the one to get Alpha.
Right. It is Carol and Alpha.
Alpha
the ultimate.
Does not know who she's getting herself into. Like, she does not know what she's getting herself into. She does not know who she's dealing with. She thinks she's a badass mother. Oh hell, Alpha, hold my beer. That's really, what Carol's saying.
Really though, even though the group is vast and has numbers, you only got to take out 2 of them.
Right.
That's the end
Alpha
of it.
True. Yes.
The other ones are just gonna die. You know, they're just gonna die. They're not any kind of. They're not in any kind of place of mind to lead anyone. They're just going to wander around until they die.
My question is, when they kill Alpha and Beta, are they going to allow the rest of the Whisperers into their humbly abodes?
I think
like they did with the Sanctuary?
I think at that point, we're going to know more about what's out there. And I think at that point, yes, probably. Some of them, but I think at that point, I think most of them are going to get wiped out somehow because they're in this herd. I don't know how. Maybe they're going to blow up a bridge. No, wait, they did that. Something like that.
I think they might get a new Alpha, maybe.
I think they'll just
I know what you're talking
I think they'll just go into the ocean like lemmings, and that would be the end of them. No, I don't know. I don't know. Okay. There's a lot of them. I think it just depends on what's coming and what's out there.
True. So the storm, I keep hitting my mark. So the storm, in the aftermath of an overwhelming loss, the communities must brave a ferocious blizzard. As one group deals with an enemy from within, another is forced to make a life or death decision. So yeah, the kingdom has to get out. They are done for. There's nothing left for them there.
Okay, look.
Which is really, really sad because Henry was keeping that place alive.
But was it really that bad that they had to leave it then when the snow was coming? They had shelter.
They were out of resources.
Yeah, but they had shelter. If they were out of resources, what did they take with them? Like, they had to have stuff. Where were they getting resources from? Like, it's snow. There was nothing there.
I
just wondered if it just, to me, it was just like, why are they leaving so quick?
They've been leading up to it for a long time.
Yeah, that's why the leaky pipes and all that, but
to be able to
help with them.
Maybe it just became a health hazard. I guess.
Yeah, that's why the fair was happening, and then that's why Henry went off to college because he needed to learn more things to make sure that the kingdom
keep the place going.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I get that, but it just felt like, wow. When you weigh up what go out in the snow or just kind of hang out here just for a month or two?
They explained it like kind of half-assly with, that if the snow kept up, then they'd be screwed. So they were leaving, in case that scenario happened.
Right, fair enough.
If the snow, it seemed to me, like we talked about this before, Dan, that it seemed like pretty much right when they got there, the snow quit.
Well, that's true. And I'm absolutely not against the snow. I love the whole episode, but it was just like,
why did they have to leave right there?
Felt very sudden.
Yeah.
It was like, wow.
Well,
I've seen them live in shittier places for longer.
I think it was a good way for them to set up, hey, this is a good reason for us to let Negan out. Because he's going to die down there. But I also thought to myself, there's been other winters. They've been there for 6 years. They never had to let Negan out before.
Well,
see, it's just really some years. Like, do you remember our winter from 2013?
But do you remember our winter just from this past?
That
winter?
was crazy.
Yeah, we get
this
crappy
winter
here.
was not that bad. 2013.
But
I wore snow pants 24/7.
You remember our 40 below days?
Yeah.
Do they get that kind of crappy weather though? Where they're at? Where's this still supposed to be at? Georgia? Well, who knows where they're at?
I think it's more closer to Virginia at this point, right?
Okay. Are you sure? I think
they're almost to Washington, right?
Yeah, I was saying, I think it's closer to D.C. now.
Who knows?
Which is right next to Virginia.
I don't know.
Open a map.
I think
Open a map.
Now I'm thinking.
Anyway, it snowed.
And yeah, so the kingdom's on their way. They find out that they need to make a pit stop at the sanctuary, which I thought was rather fitting and very, very cool. And there they decide that for them to survive, they have to pass through and cross the border, which was a very, I mean, I don't know if I would have made that decision after everything that happened. You know, like, how do you do that? How do you make that decision?
It's just another. Okay, I agree with you. It's just kind of another way, though, to keep the show going, to keep the action and the tension up there. And obviously, it's just they kind of had to do it. They put the border in that place
for a reason, so they had to
so they could segregate everybody.
Yeah.
And it was just like the whole build a wall thing. We ain't building one.
Right.
So it kind of had to happen, I guess.
Right.
But I agree. It was a bit like, why though?
Yeah. But
why they even leave? That's why it was to me. The frustration came with the whole reason why they left. It was like they could have stayed there, wait till the snow. Like, why are we doing this now? So I was kind of a bit about that. Yeah.
Yeah. So then at Alexandria, they have to switch houses because what happened again? What happened to the house?
The chimney got stuffed up.
The chimney, that's right. And bless Eugene's heart for really explaining things.
Well, Negan noticed the smell, right?
Yeah.
Negan was the one that pointed it out.
Definitely.
It smells like shit in here or something, he said.
Are you sure?
Yeah, and then somebody gave him and then like
he's the reason they moved.
Gabriel was like told him to shut up, and then
Eugene noticed it.
I totally missed that part.
Faux shizzle.
Totally missed that part. But
Negan saved the day a couple of times in this one.
I guess so. It was really cool to see them, with the whole rope thing, because that's what they used to do, like, way
but
back in, like,
you know what he reminds
days?
me of now that you see him, like, hanging out with people? He's like Stifler from American Pie.
I don't know that I draw that.
He's just that douchey friend that always just doesn't have a filter and says whatever.
All right, I can see that.
You love him, but you hate him, too, because he's a douche.
Absolutely.
But he'll do anything for you. You just won't do everything for him because he's a douche. He's Stifler with the baseball bat.
That's a very good analogy, Daniel.
Yeah.
I like that. And
it's my ass talking again.
Judith, as much as we give her all this credit for being a little ass kicker and really being able to, like, kind of take care of herself, she knows better than to go after Dog.
She's still a kid. Plus, she's also half this, half that. Even though she's Shane's, all right, fair enough. But you are who you're raised by, so she's still very caring. And Daryl,
it's for
the
Daryl.
dog.
It's not really about the dog. It's about Daryl.
She's a hero. She had to. She's like Lara Croft. Wow, I gotta go get the dog.
Right.
Not thinking, because maybe never having ever experienced how bad a blizzard is and never been explained how bad one is. She figured she could just pop out, get the dog. So
pop back in.
So lesson learned. She is a kid. That's how you learn things. You push them out in the snow and close the door. No, you don't do that.
Oh, you don't do that?
I might have had it done to me.
I do. Yeah, right.
Got locked in the bathroom with a spider once. That was scary.
That's horrible.
Still hate spiders. There you go.
What like a horrible scarring thing to happen.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm so sorry. We can talk about it after.
Yeah, we'll
the
get
show.
back to that.
But yeah, it was great. It was so great. The whole Negan thing, saving her, and how Michonne kind of had to swallow her pride and come and talk to Negan and thank him. And
it's not that she had to, well, okay, she did.
She totally had to, yeah.
But she wanted to, I think.
Pride.
She realized that it was the right thing. She had to.
Definitely begrudgingly, because she almost didn't,
know.
and she was just like...
She almost didn't, but she's on this new path, right?
Yeah.
She's exercising the demons and realized, okay, he didn't have to do that. He didn't have to.
Mm-hmm. He didn't have to do a lot of things.
He was not required to do anything.
He didn't have to come back.
Right.
He didn't have to tell everybody about the chimney.
He could have let them all pass out and done whatever, but I think he realizes, obviously, like you would, not so much that he's safe in the group, which he is, but even though the things that he's done and he's their prisoner, they are still taking care of him. Even though they don't, some of them might act like they don't want to, they are. So he's just becoming part of the group, really. He's just the douchey friend of the group.
So, with that being said, and the expected thing to happen as far as Alpha goes.
Mm.
What do you think his reasoning is? Because he is being taken care of. He has a connection, love for Judith. People are now starting to talk to him and thank him and realize that, okay, there's this. So
I think as far as how it's going to play out, here's how it's going to play out. Negan versus Beta, Carol versus Alpha. As far as how the end of people happen, I don't know. There's going to be a showdown between Negan and Beta. You bet your ass.
Oh,
you bet your ass. There's going to be.
That would be really
there's
cool.
going
That
to
would
be
be
a
a good
situation
fight.
where no one else is around but Negan, and he has to fucking fight for him. He has to fight for he's going to have to do it.
So,
And
do you
he'll-
think they're gonna follow the comics with the rest of the things?
What do you mean? Oh,
Do you know what they do in the comics?
as far as what Negan goes,
Mhm.
I really don't.
You don't think they're gonna do that?
I really don't know what happens to him in the comics.
Oh,
I know that he becomes like the new Rick, leader of the group or whatever, right?
No,
Well,
not
I think
really.
they're
Rick's still in the-
surpassing
Rick's still
that.
in the-
No, not the new.
But he-
But he becomes like
but he like is
He's
like a
up there.
buddy with
yeah,
Rick.
right?
Like they deliberately release him to help with
I
this.
I think absolutely.
and then
yeah. I
doesn't
think-
he take
no.
out Alpha and then
Yeah, he takes out
succumb
Alpha,
as
and
Alpha?
he kind of runs the Whispers for
Oh,
a
he-
minute, but I don't.
Negan does?
Yeah, as far as my understanding, but I could be mistaken.
Nah, I don't believe
I mean, I don't
it.
know, 'cause
But
I
think
don't-
if
I don't
he,
see them
I
doing
think
that
if
in
he
the
does,
show,
he's going to do it
necessarily.
differently. He's not going to do it. But it wouldn't work.
I
No,
like
I don't
like
think
what you
so.
said though, Dan. I like the Carol takes out Beta and Negan takes
I
out.
mean, at the end of the day, I'd
Carol
like to,
takes out
I'd like
Alpha
to
and
think
Negan goes
that's how it happens, or at least there's a showdown between those two. Negan versus Beta would be incredible,
That'd be really, really freaking
And-
cool. Because we
and he would
haven't
do it
really
to save
seen-
Judith, or he would do it at this point. I think he'd do it to
Right.
save any of them, because
Yeah.
not because he wants to. No, because he wants to.
Yeah, but we haven't really seen what Negan is all about. We've seen these little tidbits, him smashing heads, him, fighting Rick in the bedroom or in the
Yeah,
house,
see-
things like that. We haven't seen Negan completely
Right,
unleashed.
but the way they do it, as for us the viewer, we get shown Negan the way they want us to see Negan.
Yeah.
So, and as humans are, you don't really let somebody get to know you until you've got to know them. Until you've been around them, until you trust them, until you think that they're worthy of that information. So, as the viewer, they're slowly letting us see more and more about who he really is. So it is really good the way they've done that, and the way they're not forcing it on us. They're making us make our decision about it. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah, absolutely. No, that's a good way to
they're
put
kind
it.
of just letting us see more and more of him, and then letting us make our minds up.
I
about
like that.
who
That's a
we
really
think
good way
he
to
is.
put it.
It's just clever.
And I still have not made up my mind on how I think he is.
How do you mean?
I
You
still
don't-
kinda
but
wanna
that's-
hate him.
But that's
I
why
love him.
we're
I
not
hate to
supposed
love
to
him.
really know who. I think right now that yes, he is. I don't think he's a threat anymore to them. I don't think that he is.
Right.
I don't think that he rescued Judith to get brownie points.
He did it because that's who he
I
is.
don't think he rescued her to trick anyone into thinking he's the good guy. I don't think that's why he left and come back. I don't think that's why he didn't bash his own skull in inside the cell. I think he is changed. He's realizing who he really is, and we're getting to see maybe a bit more of who he used to be versus the person he became, which is the opposite of of Alpha, really.
Right.
But it takes one to know one. He would probably understand a bit more about how she's doing
How her
things.
brain is working and
Right.
how, yeah.
But yet he's also now got that new kind of softer, gentler genie feel about him, So
Yeah.
it's like he's the best person to kind of go up against him, physically and
He-
psychologically.
He's the savior.
He's the key.
He's the savior.
He's the savior, exactly.
I
think so.
So this season seemed to fly by.
Oh gosh, it did.
Fly by. And I love Walking Dead. But this season,
It's because
this is
it's
prime.
because
so prime.
I think the magic is back. I think
Yeah.
we're scared again. It's not the same old big bad guy with a weapon crushing
Yeah.
skulls. Like, this is scary stuff.
And speaking of, how did you put it? What did you say?
Which time?
The magic is back.
I think so.
The magic is back. The magic is definitely back. But guess who also recognizes that the magic is back?
Backstreet.
Andrew Lincoln.
Oh my gosh, yeah, he's like, oh man, I quit at the wrong time. Like, I don't know. I'm
I
excited
thought
for
you were
them.
gonna say me.
Tony,
Oh.
Tony, yeah, that is just
Because I
the
actually like
shocking.
the show again for the
That's
first
just the
time
shocking.
in since season 2. So
Well, okay,
it's great.
let's break this down. Why do we like it again? What is
I
bad?
think that the pacing is good.
Pacing, yeah, absolutely.
And there's fear again. I think those are the two main
Yeah.
the two main things that are great about the show.
Yes.
And without having like a clear protagonist anymore, like Rick was always the clear protagonist. It was his show.
Right.
Without having that, you get a chance to kind of bounce around between characters a little bit more. So we get like
Right.
a really nice arc with Daryl, a really nice arc with Michonne, a really nice arc with Henry, because we don't have to focus on this main guy anymore and his story and his family. We have multiple characters that we get to follow and enjoy, which we always did a little bit, but now it feels like their characters have heart again.
It's like,
And like they're actually cared for. Like
Yeah.
Daryl actually has lines.
but it's,
First time in a couple
but the
of seasons.
problem is,
Poor
in
Daryl.
the reality of the show, Daryl was always kind of like didn't speak
The
because
background
Rick
guy.
handled
Yeah,
it.
for sure.
Right,
So
but
he-
had a lot more attention given to
Right.
him in the
It's
first
not that
few
he
seasons.
didn't have a bunch of lines. It's like as a character, that's just
yeah.
what he is. Daryl was Rick's beta. Like, I mean, kinda. So
Oh,
he's-
absolutely.
so-
I completely agree with
Yeah,
that.
He didn't have to
he
speak.
replaced what's
Glenn.
no, can't think of his name. Never mind.
Who are you thinking of? Oh.
Nah, the dude from the comic books. Can't think of his name.
Man, see, you got me.
Huh? The dude from the comic books.
Yeah.
Oh, because
Like-
Daryl wasn't in the comic
Yeah, Daryl's
books.
not in the comic books.
Oh, Merle?
No, Merle's not in the comic books either.
I thought, no, Merle is.
Is he?
Yeah. I'm pretty sure.
Oh, I don't know.
I don't
Merle
really
is,
know.
but Daryl isn't.
I don't think so.
So do you
Could be
think
wrong.
that obviously taking Rick out of the equation has opened it up to just lots more, a lot of different storylines, backstories?
I definitely agree with Tony. Yeah, it really allows them to be a little bit more creative because they don't have to really figure out, okay, how is this going to affect Rick? How is this going to affect Rick?
Right.
What is Rick going to do in this situation?
Right.
Like, it really just kind of gets them to be a little loosey-goosey, have a little more fun, be a little more creative. And,
Right.
I mean, as much as I've loved the series since the beginning, I still understand why people left. Like, I get it. And I would think that this season is bringing people back. If it's not, then you need to open up your mind a
Yeah,
little
you
bit
definitely
because
need
it's
to check it out.
great.
I
yeah.
mean, you could actually almost kind of start watching The Walking Dead from this season, get rehooked, and then go back to the beginning almost if you were just
Yeah.
new to this.
Yeah,
Because
I think
it's
so.
a good season to kind of. It's just entertaining.
Yeah, it
And
kind
you
of pushes
don't-
the refresh button.
Yeah, it's kind of a reset, but not. I like the way they did it. I was worried about how that was going to go down. I'm actually relieved that they've taken Rick out of the equation for a quick minute. We all know he's not dead. We know he's coming
See,
back
exactly.
into play.
We know he's
we
not
can
dead.
we can all
like,
sit back and relax and breathe and know we don't have to worry about Rick anymore. Let's see what else is going on.
Speaking of which,
The radio.
the radio. Ooh, it's Jadis.
I think Jadis.
It's totally Jadis.
Jadis to
It
me
has to be. It has
provides
to be.
a better story going forward.
Yeah.
Well, not necessarily
Well,
because
A more satisfying story.
Yeah, I
I mean, to wrap it up,
for you
a new colony.
depends on where they're going, but it's not a new colony necessarily. I
Well-
mean, you gotta think about where Maggie's at too. Maggie's with
Right.
the one people or whatever, like the
Right.
so
Yeah.
they provide something to the show.
The Commonwealth.
too. Yeah, Commonwealth, I think.
But maybe this is an introduction to the other group, though, the New World Order, or possibly just. I feel like Jadis had the radio. It's just a really
makes
nice
sense
little
for
thing.
it
it
to
makes
be,
sense
yeah.
for me to be Jason.
Yeah.
I'm kind of playing devil's advocate.
No,
'cause
no,
I
but I
want it to be
agree with you.
Jadis.
I feel like that's what they're gonna do, and I do feel like I'm gonna be disappointed by this. I feel like it's gonna be.
You feel like it's gonna be Maggie.
Hey,
you
anyone
want it to
got
be
any
Jadis.
records I can swap with you? I'll teach you how to build a windmill.
See,
I think it's gonna be
I don't
somebody
think
like
it's
that.
going to be Maggie only because
No, I
like
don't think it's Maggie.
she signed off. Like she signed off. She has a new show.
No.
I
Yeah,
don't
but
think
she
it's
had
going to be
one
her.
season of a show that nobody's watching.
Actually, I'm watching it, and it's not too bad.
Oh really?
Whiskey
Wait,
Cavalier.
what? The name is great.
Actually,
I really like
let
the
me
name.
rephrase that. My wife's watching it. I caught a couple episodes. It's pretty good.
What channel is it on?
Have you seen Burn Notice?
Yeah.
It's basically that, but instead of 2 dudes and Bruce Campbell being one of them, it's her and this other fella. It's not bad.
I mean, I like her. I would
she's
watch
good
it
in it.
because I like her. And she's hot.
She doesn't have to be dirty all the time, so that's nice.
Wait,
Although
that's a nice thing?
Because she's not all grungy and dirty and like
I was
muddy.
thinking of the
But
other
Maggie
dirty.
kept herself pretty clean.
She did.
She had a mansion. I'm not sure why she left to move in a tent, but whatever.
Well, do we know if they're living in a tent?
Contracts.
It's probably like, they have
Tony's
record
doing a
players and
hand
stuff.
signal at us. He's doing the helicopter.
Okay, that is it for Spoiling Dead. But we have to tell you guys what we have going on. And what we have going on is Midwest Action Fest. It is a film festival where we showcase comedy, adventure, and action films from all around the world. Yes, all around the world.
My goodness.
We have one that takes place in Monticello, Indiana, a documentary, and we have one that's like from Amsterdam.
You're like, okay. I was like, we have ones from all around the world. We have one that takes place in Monticello, Indiana.
It's like 20 minutes from here.
I was like giving you like the sense of all around the world. Monticello, Indiana, and then Amsterdam. Like,
No, they come from all over. I think 17 countries, if
I think
I'm
that's what-
remembering
yeah.
correctly.
I think you're right.
But I'm bad at numbers.
So Action Fest is April 19th and April 20th. That is a Friday and Saturday at the State Theater in Logansport, Indiana. There's going to be food, vendors, entertainment. Like, there's going to be a magician.
Mystery
It's
Machine.
Pretty awesome. The studio owned
OG
and used
Mystery
the
Machine.
OG when they were like the cartoon
From
had
like
first
60s,
came out.
from the 60s.
Yeah, is going to be there. And I hear that Velma is going to be there too.
Zoinks!
Yeah, and then there's Molotov, the fire and sword eater. And he's like one of 100 worldwide.
You know why? The rest are dead.
So come see Molotov with his death-defying act. And yeah, like I said, there's gonna be food from Winamac Corner Deli, full bar. Yeah, you heard that, full bar. And there's gonna be a cool after party with like burlesque and music and drinks.
Did you say cosplay?
Oh, and there's a cosplay contest
Yeah, I
too.
forgot about
And there's gonna be panels and seminars, like
Loads of stuff.
Dudes. Oh wait, I forgot one thing. It's free.
Oh, it is free.
I thought you were
I'm like, we did? It is free.
free. It's like the best part.
It is free.
Come
so come and
see
get drunk,
us,
watch
hang
movies, and people swallow swords and do magic. And
Hell yeah.
get a picture by the Mystery Machine. It's free.
Hell yeah.
And watch movies and stuff with us.
Sounds awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where's that at again?
The State Theater in Logansport, Indiana. Google it.
Google it. Facebook us.
So, yes, thank you so much for tuning into Spoiling Dead. It was really, really nice being back and talking about my favorite show. And, yeah, it's just always a lovely time. Always nice having you guys. And, yeah, I don't know, Tony, did you want to, like,
got
say
anything,
something?
Tony?
I don't really have much to say other than we are back, and you can expect episodes to be trickling out here throughout the month of April, and then things to be kicking right back full swing come May with replay back. Reviews are going to be coming back. We've got I'm hoping to do a trailer reaction for the new Joker trailer that came out today because I still haven't got a chance to watch it because I've been holding out to do reactions.
It's so good.
So yeah, expect Rad Entertainment to start putting out content again because we are officially back, and I'm really excited about it. All right, so with that, we'll catch you guys here in 2 weeks, actually, for Spoiling Thrones.
Woo!
That's the big one that's coming back. Game of Thrones is coming
Na-na-na-na-na-na-na-na.
back, so we'll be
Can't
right
wait.
back here spoiling all sorts of things of Game of Thrones. All right, we'll see you guys next time here on Rad Entertainment.
Bye. So long. Farewell. Auf Wiedersehen. Goodbye.